The Spoken Token is a proud member of the Pod Studio One podcast network. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome into the big show.
Hey!
I am Larry Neal.
And I am Alex Wallace.
And we are the Spoken Token podcast. And today we are live from Nashville's own International Tabletop Day 2023 celebration right here on the campus of Trevecca University here in Nashville. Alex, I'm super excited.
Hey, listen, it's international. It's just not Nashville. It's international.
It's not the Nashville Tabletop Day.
Yeah, no.
It is the Nashville Tabletop Day, but it's a part of the international
I know,
Tabletop Day.
I mean, there are people that look just like you and I in, France. On top of the Eiffel Tower, they are recording live.
I think I want to meet French Larry, because he might be kind of cool.
It's just Larry, but with a baguette.
Oui. Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
Terrible. So sorry. So sorry.
Is it too early in the morning to culturally stereotype?
Yes.
I apologize to all of our French listeners. But you know what? That does open an interesting idea. Do you think?
Really? It does?
Yes, because if we get
I'm gonna let you go
popular
on this one
enough,
by yourself.
if we get popular enough, do you think that they would dub us in a different language? So, I mean, that's fascinating to me.
So this is what I'm going to do instead of deal with that question. We're going to talk about the reason why we're here today. And as we said in the opening, we are here at International Tabletop Day 2023 here in Nashville. And we're going to get in a little bit here, just a little bit later on, with the wonderful person who's over this particular event, a little bit more of the history about the event itself, if you're new listening to us or if you haven't heard of it. And I'm going to say this right up front. You'll probably hear us say it quite a bit of times. If you have not participated in a local International Tabletop Day, or you don't have one where you are, first of all, organize one. We're going to give you some tips later on how to do that and places to go to look in order to do that. But if you do have one here, go. It is a wonderful, wonderful day of getting together, celebrating this hobby that we all love. And I think it's quite important for all of the other things that it represents in terms of just sitting across the table from people and just sharing people's lives and having fun and making friends. Man, I'm excited about it. I haven't even had that much caffeine today.
Well, the caffeine you did have, you almost spit out.
That's why I said I ain't had a whole lot. I'm not going to talk about the place that I got it from. That's really bad.
That's okay. But you know what?
Woo.
Just like some people are not good at selling board games and giving you the right stuff, some companies are not good at selling coffee and giving you the right stuff.
Touche.
Yes. Oh, see, French, right there. And ladies and gentlemen,
we're going to go into the show. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome into the Spoken Token podcast. This time, join us for a very special episode from Nashville Game Day 2023. Join Alex and Larry as they speak with the founder of this great event, Andy Matthews, and dig into how to join or even create game days just like this in your own neck of the woods. Then, it's time for more Board Games Roadshow as they sit down with local game store and game cafe owner Rick Cooler and catch up on what's going on with GamePoint. We then talk about some of our favorite games from the personal collections, and we discuss the right kind of crowd for conventions, and so much more. So, sit back, relax, get out your convention day pass, and turn us up as we join your hosts, Alex Wallace and Larry Neal.
and we are back, and right across the table this time here at International Tabletop Day 2023 is the man of the hour, the one, the only. Well, why don't you introduce yourself, because I'm going to ruin it. So,
I'm just a man. Thank you very much. My name is Andy Matthews. I run Meeple Mountain. I run Nashville Tabletop Day and Nashville Game Night.
Yes.
That's me.
Yes, and we've got him here for a couple of different reasons. Obviously, we're here at this wonderful event, but we were strategic in our pick because we want to talk about International Tabletop Day this year, and we wanted to share some resources on how to get involved. Since you've been doing it, been doing an amazing, trust me, everyone, if you can't hear everything going on in the background, we did send some pictures out on social media. I'll probably put some in the post. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Thanks a lot.
So how can people get involved? How can they get involved with doing an International Tabletop Day where they are? And this is coming from the source, people. Get your notes out and take notes. Take it away, Andy.
All right. So International Tabletop Day, just to be clear, Nashville Tabletop Day, it started off from International Tabletop Day. It was a spin-off in 2015. I saw a bunch of people promoting these events that they were doing in cities all over the world, spin-off of Geek and Sundry, Will Wheaton, Felicia Day, and they did this thing called International Tabletop Day, and I'm thinking to myself, that sounds awesome. and it was always the last Saturday in April. So I thought to myself in 2015, how can I do that? I don't want to call it International Tabletop Day because that's boring. I want to call it Nashville Tabletop Day. So that is actually what the event is called, but we spun off, and for the first couple of years, we were synced. At the same Saturday, it was the same Saturday as International Tabletop Day, so that we could actually get cross-promotion. And for 1 year, I believe it was in 2018, we were the largest International Tabletop Day event in the world. Like literally in the world.
So wait a minute. All right. I think that Larry and I have been calling it International Tabletop Day this entire time.
We have been.
But this is actually Nashville Tabletop Day.
Nashville Tabletop Day.
But
I love it.
Here's what I'm going to say, though, that this has been so synonymous with International Tabletop Day. I just assumed that it's the same thing. So you know what? When I think of international board gaming, I think of you, Andy. You are the international man of mystery for me.
Well, thanks.
So, but I mean, I guess I'm a little embarrassed. So, but can we do some voiceover? Do we have money to do that? So instead of every time international, we just go Nashville Tabletop Day. No.
No.
Okay. Sorry. Excuse me. All right. Continue your story. Sorry, but.
Isn't that what you guys call? Can't you fix this in post? What kind of outfit am I in here with? All right.
No. We have zero budget.
We've been here all day. Have you not been paying attention?
No. Okay, so here's the way it works. In 2018, 2019, the parent company of Geek and Sundry, Legendary, they were still supporting International Tabletop Day for a little bit, but they moved it to June. Yep. I didn't want to have our event in June because that meant if we had students in town for Nashville, they wouldn't be in town, and we want to have students. It's a free event after all, so perfect for students. And so I decided, because it's just me, I decided, you know what, we're going to break. We're still going to keep doing it the last Saturday in April, because that works for me, that works for my family, and if International Tabletop Day wants to keep doing its own thing, we're good. But like you said, I think Nashville Tabletop Day is an established enough event that we didn't need that extra publicity. Yeah, that's where we're at.
Well, I would assume that International Tabletop Day has dropped in popularity at this point, now that it's no longer cross-promoting with you, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Obviously no one else has heard of that anymore.
No. So. Honestly, I don't even know if they're still doing it, or if they are. I think, well, just to be clear, the original focus of International Tabletop Day was less about attendee-centered and more retail-centered, right? The focus was, let's get these retail stores, brick-and-mortar stores, comic stores, game stores, let's have something where they can get 20, 30, 50 people into their doors throughout the day on a single day, and we'll help cross-promote. It just so happened that my event, while it worked within their model, that wasn't their intention. Right, it wasn't like, hey, anybody can have their own event. It's, we want to focus. And so, like I said, in 2018, 2019, they basically moved towards that. No, you couldn't ever register your personal event anymore, and it was only for retail stores. So
kind of like Small Business Saturday, after
that's
Black
exactly
Friday.
it.
Okay,
yep.
got it.
Like Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I would have loved for it to be free board game day, though. So
that would be awesome.
Can that be next for National Tabletop Day?
That could be next year.
Okay,
we do have some things that, so first of all, you guys may have already mentioned this. I want to call out Trevecca Nazarene University is the host that we have.
Yes.
This is the third year we've been here in 2019. We skipped 2 years because of COVID. Thanks a lot, COVID. Then we were back in 2022, and here we're in 2023.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, they confirmed that we basically have this room, this big hall, it's called Boone Convocation Center. I won't say in perpetuity, but they've confirmed that this weekend-ish, we're good as long as we get it scheduled. So
that's incredible.
What that tells me is now that I know that I don't have to scramble for the venue every year, because I'm committed to having this be a free event, and I'm very proud of that. The problem is it means I couldn't pay a venue. Right, unless I got some really good sponsors, and it turns out we did get a good sponsor, Trevecca.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
So they've confirmed that we have this event for the next couple years, and that means that on Saturday and maybe Sunday in next year, Well,
breaking news.
Breaking news. We don't get a lot of that, but
yeah. So we're in talks. Like in 2019, which was when we had this in the same room. It was amazing. And then we started planning for 2020, and we wanted to do an RPG session, like we wanted to do a game design session, maybe panels, maybe get some special guests, because you guys can't see it because, you're just listening, but there's a whole, in addition to this room that we have here, there's a whole bunch of classrooms along the back wall, right on the other side of that we could also have access to, right? And so if you've got a 20 to 30 person classroom, that is perfect for a game design session or a play to win, or not play to win, excuse me, but a panel or some sort of special guest where they could have a signing session. And then, of course, the big deal is we want to make sure that we honor our sponsors and respect their commitment to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so having a second day means that all these games that we're giving away have another complete day to get played, which is really what it comes down to for those sponsors. They want to get their games in front of people.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, very
what,
cool.
Which, like, for you, and I know you can't say all of them, but what have been the really, really exciting play to wins that you've been able to kind of get out here, or the ones that have been the most popular?
Well, as a matter of fact, so I don't know if you mentioned this already. In past years, we have done a play-to-win system where you literally write your name down on an index card and you hand it over. That's real easy for the person because it's very low-key. The problem is, in past years, we've had upwards of 2,000 entries, and those are 2,000 index cards, first of all. Sorry about that. That is 2,000 index cards that are just going to get recycled, 2,000 index cards that my volunteers and I have to go through manually. If somebody miswrites their phone number, right, they have to write their phone number 5 times if they play 5 different games. Anyway, and so I'm a software engineer by trade, and so this year I have written a custom web application that allows people to scan QR codes on their badge and on the game to register to check out games in our system, to check in games, and then to register plays to win. The benefit is at the end of the night, I can pull all the play-to-win winners in a minute. And also, it means that we're keeping track of all of the metrics. So,
oh, man, you've got analytics for days.
I've got analytics. So let's take a quick look. At this point, at 3:32 on Saturday, we have 398 attendees who have already registered to be here, right? We have 175 games. We have 373 total checkouts. That means games that have been checked out. And I don't have the information here, but we have probably close to 900 registered plays at this point. And those are all index cards that would have been last year, right?
Oh, it's fantastic.
So, hot games this year, right? Because I also have that.
Yes.
Magic Mountain. That's a...
the Disney...
who's that? That's a Ravensburger game.
Yeah.
Ravensburger?
It's
Ravensburger game.
Yeah,
so 20 plays recorded. Wow. Fall of the Mountain King, that's a Burnt Island Games. Yeah. That's 19 plays. Jerusalem Anno Domini, that is a DeVere game.
Wait, Jerusalem's out?
Jerusalem,
yes.
Is it out? We have a copy. Let's put it that way.
Oh, man.
I'm not positive it's out.
I just discovered that one about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Meeple Mountain reviewed it just about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Maybe that's how you discovered it. We've got 19 plays of that one. Amusingly enough, Gimme Guinea Pigs is in 4th place, and that is an R&R Games title.
I love it.
17 plays. I won't read all these to you, but Deal with the Devil, that's a CGE Czech Games edition, 16. Yeah. Fort Later Games, 16. In the Footsteps of Darwin, that's a Hachette game with I think it's Sorry We Are French. Anyway, so yeah. Las Vegas Royale, Roller Coaster Rush by Pandasaurus. Las Vegas Royale is Aaliyah, and then The Wolves, another Pandasaurus game. So those are our top 10 hot games right now.
Fantastic. Yeah. Let's do this, man. He's got all the numbers. I'm glad you went that way. That's fantastic. Well, let's do this. Even though it's Nashville Tabletop Day, International Tabletop Day, what you've put together is incredible. So I want to give people an opportunity. We're going to be the rest of the world and kind of pick your brain a little bit. What do people need to do if they want to do one of these? They want to put this on themselves. What's your advice? As he laughs. Oh, he laughed, everyone.
No, so I'm laughing because in my Moxie, in my 2015 event, literally this is like the first time I ever ran an event, I made lots of mistakes.
Sure.
Sorry. So I made lots of mistakes, but I also did a lot of really good things, right? And so one of the things that I did after the fact was I wrote a 3-article series on Meeple Mountain. So if you do a search for how to run a board game event, you will probably find Meeple Mountain in the top, like maybe number 1, maybe number 5. It's a 3-article series, and it talks about what to do to prepare, what to do the day of the event, and what to do after the event. And let me just call out a couple of things that I think are really particular, right? The most important thing is when you are a small event, nobody knows who you are, right? Nobody knew who Meeple Mountain was in 2015. Honestly, I don't even know when Meeple Mountain had started in 2015. Nobody knows who you are. So when you're sending emails to publishers, why would they give you games? I literally had in my head, I can just treat a publisher like a vending machine, and I ask for it, and they'll give me games. Why wouldn't they? I'm putting on an event. So realizing that publishers, they want results. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, sure, they're doing it for passion and for the love of the game, right, but they're not going to just send games to anyone just because you say, I'm going to have 100 people. So send the request and be personal, like give them a reason to support your event. Right? Day of the event, make sure you have lots of volunteers. Make sure you are respecting your volunteers' time and giving them love right back, right? Because, I mean, I've got, you can't see, but everyone who's got these bright gold shirts on, those are all people who are sacrificing, in some cases, multiple hours of their time. There's a couple people here that have been with us for 5 and 6 years, and they were here last night, punching games. They're here today, literally all day. They will be here when we pack up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's absolutely critical, is realizing, who you have and what they're doing, because so many people treat volunteers just like, pieces of a machine or like something that has no value.
Yep.
And so, just that human element is huge.
Yeah. And so I think the most important thing, and one thing that I am particularly proud of, is after the event. Again, a lot of people can say, the event's done, I'm good. That's it. I spend probably several days, close to a week, tabulating results, collecting information, and I craft probably a 2 or 3 page email, probably more like a week, all the pictures that I've been taking throughout the day get uploaded to Facebook. They get tagged with each individual publisher and the game name. I call those out for the publisher, and I'll say, hey, we played, here's the games you sent us, these 5 games, or even these 1 game. Everybody gets the same email. And here's how many times your game was played, right? Here's how many times this year we can record how many times it got checked out, and here's the people who won them. The first year that I did that customized email, I had multiple publishers respond to me and say, this blew me away. I've never gotten a response, a follow-up email like this. And that is, I think, the most important thing is, again, going back to the publishers are supporting your event, respect them, right? Show them, give them a reason to come back the next year. And I think it shows because we have at least probably 4 or 5 publishers that have been with us every year and continue to support us.
That's,
right?
I'd never thought about that, but until you started talking about it, from a publisher standpoint, it's always like, how much was the cost of this? So it was one game, that we put in, I don't know, $30 for this, whatever they sent you, and here's the rate of return. So, from a business decision, I think that's huge. And that's where you're going to get probably even more product from those specific publishers, or at least they can make a wiser decision of like, oh, well, our games are only doing this, and, so that's, wow. Yeah.
And so the last thing I think, I didn't mention this, but in the days leading up to the event, or in my case, I sent out publisher emails probably end of January, maybe beginning of February, thinking I was late. And a lot of publishers didn't even get back to me for a month. But the upside is it's a matter of knowing your attendees, right? So Nashville Tabletop Day is, because it's a free event, we have, I think, a broader mix of types of attendee than other dedicated board game convention. There's no cost to entry, right? Which means that people can bring their families.
Right.
People just come across it on Reddit. You know, I posted in the Nashville sub on Reddit. I posted on Facebook. I did Facebook ads. And so anyone who has expressed interest in board games, there's zero barrier, right? And that means not only do we get a really solid mix of hardcore gamers, those are the people that are going to be, that got here at 9:20 this morning or 9:30. Thanks a lot, dudes.
Yes.
And we'll be here at 9 o'clock at 10 o'clock at night. But we also have first timers. Maybe they play Monopoly, you know, whatever. And they are getting exposed to this amazing, hospitable and loving world. People who are just love cardboard, basically. So yeah.
I think the biggest draw for the hobby is the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or at least the why you stay in the hobby. Yeah, there might be a flashy game that you're like, oh, look at all these miniatures, or look at all this, and that gets somebody into the hobby. But people stay because of people.
Yep.
Because that's what our hobby does.
No, that is fantastic. Well, look, we're going to do this. We're going to make sure we link everything that you've given us. We'll have ours in the notes. Also, too, if there's anything else you come up with in terms of a resource, I want to make sure we get that out to the people so that people can pick your brains, so that people can do this event. Whether they're following through on the International Tabletop or whether they want to do one of their own, was really what we wanted to do, to get some just wisdom from Mr. Andy Matthews. We thank you so much for your time. We got to let him go for this segment because we're going to get him back for one more quick segment. So we got to honor his time. So we're going to move on to the next segment, and we'll be right back right after this.
Thanks a lot.
All right, we are back, and so we are here one more segment with Mr. Andy Matthews, and this segment is going to be called Getting to Know You. What we do in this one, we like to look at a certain related topics for board games, not necessarily just playing games or about games themselves, and we like to explore strategies for getting involved, and I know we got into a little bit of that with the last segment, but what we want to do right now, we want to talk to Andy while we have him here with us about conventions, about Tabletop Day, or starting and finding a local game group, because this man has an unbelievable amount of expertise at all of these with the National Game Night, and we'll let you talk. So just want some of the strategies for pulling that stuff together for your community. So we're talking not just calling mom and dad and saying, hey, come over and play a game, but you're literally sitting down and saying, hey, you know what, I want to do something for the community. What are some strategies for pulling some stuff together that you have for us?
I would say, let's see, start with what you got. So if you've got 5 board games in your closet, start playing those 5 board games. Invite people over. That is the easy answer, but the real answer is some people don't feel comfortable doing that, right? So how can those people get plugged in? So in Nashville particularly, I have a website called Nashville Board Gaming. If you go to nashvilleboardgaming.com, that just redirects to a page on Meeple Mountain where I have listed a bunch of community resources. So I know it's not complete, and that's fine, but it's a chance for you to find other game groups. There's a handful here in East Nashville, or there's some in East Nashville. There's one in North Nashville called Meeples and Ale. There's Gong, which basically meets in East Nashville and kind of like points around there. And there's a handful of others that are regular groups, right? And those are, 10 to 20 to 30 people. I run Nashville Game Night, which is every month. But anyway, so that website, NashvilleBoardGaming.com, has a list of game stores, game cafes, groups, along with we have a Slack group called Nashville Gaming Chat. I can't even remember what it's called. And that's a Slack group. It's open to anyone. You can register there. There's also a Facebook group called Nashville Area Gamers. It's got something like 2,000 people. So if you're asking how to start your own event, my suggestion would be try joining another group first. See if you can find a group that meets in your area, that plays the kinds of games that you're interested in doing, and start there. That's what I did. I got started with a group called Cheshire Hall here in Nashville. Evan and Sarah were amazingly hospitable. They welcome people into their home every week. Literally 15, 20, 30 people. The entire downstairs floor of their house was dedicated to board games, filled with tables and chairs. And they've been doing it ever since. Unfortunately, Sarah just passed away within the last week or two, I believe, on Easter, and it was a huge loss to Evan, of course, but also to the Nashville gaming community, because The two of them are one of the reasons why I started Meeple Mountain, because they were so welcoming, because they gave me a chance to try out. My board game collection was like 5, 10 maybe, right? And I got a chance to walk in and sit down with people that I knew a little bit, maybe I didn't know, and try these cool games.
Yeah.
I didn't even know board games, and because of the two of them, that their hospitality and welcomeness just directly led to Meeple Mountain, to Nashville Game Night, to Nashville Tabletop Day. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. Find your own group, right? And then if you're not finding your own group and you feel comfortable with reaching out, post something on Facebook. I recently did that because, with Meeple Mountain, I get a lot of advanced copies. I get a lot of review copies that maybe my kids don't want to play, too complicated, or they're just bored with it. And so I literally put out, and about a year and a half ago, I put out this invite that said, I want to start a game group. I'm looking for 3 or 4 people. You have to be willing to play new games every week. I'm happy to do the teach, but I want to burn through these copies and get a chance to play these games that I'm getting.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to find a couple of guys, and I'm still playing with them to this day.
That's perfect.
So,
I love it. Well, man, that kind of covers the whole thing. I mean,
this guy's batting 1,000.
Yay.
It's like he's been doing this for a while.
It's like I've been doing this for a while.
Right. And that was the reason why we wanted to share it. It's in the theme of being Tabletop Day, and I know a lot of times people hear about events like this if they don't have them in their community. That you think Origins, you think Gen Con. I mean, that's way at the pinnacle, and where most of your gaming is going to be done. That's not at your table. That's an outside event. Is an event like this.
Yep.
So that's why I wanted to shout. So let's share with people who maybe don't have this in their community. If they don't have it there, you can bring it there. You can do it.
You can be the one.
You, sir, you listener, you can do it.
That's
so we wanted
right.
to make sure we shared some information. Andy, man, I appreciate it so much. First of all, having us out here and putting this on, and then of course coming in and just knocking it out and giving us some of that information from your old gray matter. I appreciate you, sir.
I'll throw out one more in the same vein. One of the things that believe it or not, with Meeple Mountain, I am most proud about is there is a board gaming convention calendar that we wrote. This is in 2017, so this article is 6 years old, right? And it has a up-to-date calendar. It's not complete because I don't know about every event, but
Right.
it has the events are relatively up-to-date. And so if you search for board game conventions, Meeple Mountain is the #1 result. Over Board Game Geek, over tabletop.social, or tabletop.events. So we are the #1 event, and that is a great resource because it lists large events like Essen Spiel, Origins, Gen Con, but it also lists these micro events that are 50 people, 100 people. And so that is a way for people to find not only regular during the week events, but also yearly and sometimes quarterly events that people are putting on in their area.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect.
yeah.
And we're going to do a segment. We're going to do a segment here in the show a little later on that we like to call Conventional Wisdom, where I just run a list of conventions that are coming. So I just found a new source to check.
There we go.
There it is.
I'm excited. I have a few that I've used before, and of course I always credit it, so make sure you check us in the show notes when you see that. I'll let you know in the show notes which list I used. But wow, Andy, sir, thank you so much again.
Word up.
Thank you so
very
much,
for
Andy.
being
Really, really appreciate it. Again, wonderful, wonderful event. We really, really appreciate you inviting us, and it's been fun. It's had a great time.
Awesome. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Yes, you will.
And we are back here again at not International Tabletop Day, but Nashville Tabletop
I know,
Day.
right?
Yes. So this was our.
We'll fix that moving forward.
Well, yeah. Well, this is our special effects budget, getting it right this time.
Yeah, we're fixing it in post right now.
Well, yes, this is post. Whatever. No, we're still here. We're still enjoying ourselves. But we are gonna go to Future Larry with his favorite segment, Conventional Wisdom.
Whoosh.
Yes, Future Larry in a quieter space. Now is your time.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome in. It is that time of the year again. It's time for us to get into Conventional Wisdom. And for those of you that have been along with us, you do understand that what we do with Conventional Wisdom is we just our take on the convention schedule. thought it would be appropriate to get started with that this season, seeing as how we are here at Nashville Game Day. So far, it's just a short list. And remember, please go and check out all of these. I try to get the best coverage, mostly here in the U.S., but we will go international when some come up. And these are going to run just a few. I only have a short list this time, and we're only looking at the next 4. I've got 4. They aren't the next 4, but I do have 4 to share with you. So we'll get started at the end of this very month, May 27th through the 29th. We have Recon 2023, a remarkable tabletop gaming experience, and that is in Keenersville, North Carolina. And the location and all of the information about that will be there in the notes. So please make sure you check our show notes. I'll read just a little bit since they furnished a blurb for us. And it says, since 2017, Recon, a remarkable tabletop gaming experience, has grown to be the largest nonprofit community board gaming event in North Carolina. They've got 4,500 plus square feet of dedicated space, play-to-win events, staff tabletop gaming, flea market, and looks like a ton more. So if you're in that neighborhood and if you're looking to go and get some gaming in, Recon 2023 is definitely your choice if you're in that neck of the woods. And then on June 2nd through the 4th, we have SaltCon Summer 2023, and that is over in Layton, Utah. And again, just a little bit more about it. It's Utah's board game destination, the board game event of the Wasatch Front. Come join thousands of gamers and check out the hottest new releases, enter a tournament, browse game-themed jewelry, decor, and accessories. So again, something that seems just extremely well suited to the part of the country that it's in. And that's one of the things that I love about these conventions. So there's a lot of things there for everyone, but if you are a gamer, then absolutely go. That's a good place to get some gaming. Again, that's June 2nd through the 4th. SaltCon Summer 2023 in Layton, Utah. Moving on, these next 2, I've got one in July 6th through the 9th. We've got Play On Con, and that is in Birmingham, Alabama. And again, we will have links to all of these in the show notes, so make sure you go and check those out if you are at all interested in them. And then on the last one that we have for this installment is Southern Fried Gaming Expo, and that will be in Atlanta, Georgia from July 28th through the 30th. And again, all of the details and what's going on and how things are working are going to be on their websites. Again, this is not meant to necessarily be exhaustive. We just try to pick a few. I try to go through a few, and I just want to put them out there just to let people know what's available in your area, that there is something there. And if you didn't hear anything, which obviously there was 4, so a lot of you most likely didn't, please search, go out and take a look. There is something going on, I'm sure. If you're listening to us and you're interested in it, then by all means, go and join a convention. Have a good time, play some board games, buy some new board games, meet some new friends, make some new friends, and have a wonderful time. So with that said, that'll be it for this installment of Conventional Wisdom. And now back to the show. And we are back. Alex, where are we?
Hey, we're at the exact same place where we recorded earlier, which is...
That ain't the answer, man.
You know what? Hey, it doesn't matter. We are here recording live at International Tabletop Day here in Nashville 2023. Don't hit me.
Accurate.
We are actually talking to one of the people who can actually say he's listened to us longer than any other person alive other than us in the edit. So, and that is our good friend Rick Cooler. Rick, hey man, what's up?
Hey Alex. Hey Larry, how are you both?
We are doing well, man. Hey, we're kind of
Excellent.
doing a little bit of Board Games Roadshow, but we like to go to the stores. We were in the store earlier, but we didn't have Rick with us.
Yeah, I don't know. That was sketchy.
Hey, Larry said we had permission.
Absolutely.
I thought you said we
Absolutely.
had permission, man.
I didn't talk to him. So.
But we just want to talk about local game store. We want to get the local scene from the proprietor and the owner and just give him space to talk about what he does, what makes his shop special, and what it is that you love about what you do. So the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, so we opened Game Point, a board game store, in late fall of last year because we wanted to, we don't have a ton of space for retail at the cafe, and we really wanted to be able to offer kind of a little wider of a product. But so we had a small space came available in a high foot traffic area in Nashville, and we were like, yeah, let's try this. And I mean, the goals were twofold. One, we wanted to increase the awareness about the Board Game Cafe, and that was one way to do that. And the other was to spread some board game love. I mean, there's a lot of people walking that area that probably haven't seen a quote modern board game.
He is telling the truth.
Larry can speak to that.
Yes.
And so we thought it was a great way to kind of spread the hobby a little bit and maybe sell some games while we're doing it.
What have you found to be sort of the different challenges opposed to running a board game cafe? Like, what have been the benefits of, and then maybe some of the things you weren't expecting, and or because you've run Game Point Cafe for a number of years now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the biggest challenge is it's a small space, so we have tried to jam it full of good games. But we have to curate. Like, we can't have everything. We have to pick kind of what we think is the cream of the crop and what's going to appeal to maybe a casual audience as well, while still trying to appeal to somebody that has 20 or 30 or 300 board games.
I would say then you'd put like the Monopolies and the Lifes up front, and then the real stuff towards the back. It's like, come here. Let me show you the other things.
So we were intentional about that when we made our display. The stuff in the window hanging up is definitely stuff people will recognize.
Yep.
And then we put that in the back, so they have to see all the other stuff to go get it. So we're definitely trying to spread the word about what's out there.
Perfect design 101. I have another quick question based on that, what you were saying, the curation. What else is it that you guys are doing that makes the show special? What's to you, what's the secret sauce for Game Point, the store that you kind of want to get out there? It may not be there yet, but what are you thinking is going to make it stand out?
I think I touched on it. I think having really trying to be laser focused on what we think is the best of the best is a big part of it. Also, I think we're along this trajectory. Having salespeople that really can help the customer, I think, is huge. Yes. I mean, because we aren't doing Magic tournaments, we aren't doing Warhammer. We're here to tell you about games, and you can go online and buy that box. But when you come in the store, we can tell you what that experience is going to be like. What if you've played something and you like that, even if it's a mass market game? Well, I play Monopoly. What do you like about Monopoly? Well, I like when we have to trade and so then okay, well, let's show you these 3 games that's going to give you a similar experience. It's going to be more streamlined and maybe more fun. So that's what I think we really bring to the table, and that's what I hope people get when they come in, is like, oh, these guys know what they're talking about, and they can tell us what I'm going to have. I like to say, hey, come on in and find your new favorite game, because we can show you that to you.
I love it. Another quick thing, I know we're here today at an event. Also, of course, we did game days. Since you've done it a couple of times now, as I know you put on Tennessee Game Days for a number of years, you've had the cafe, now you're owning a store. What's the difference, or what's it been like for you as a store going to support an event like this? Talk about that process.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's always a difficult question to try and second guess what that audience is going to want versus the audience that comes in off the street versus somebody that looks you up, board game store near me, and comes in. There are 3 different universes of people that want different things. So that's the real kind of challenge, especially coming to a one-day event like this. It's okay, I can't bring the whole store with me. What subset can I bring that people are going to be interested in and people are going to be passionate about? So that's
tumbling dice. Always bring tumbling dice. No, I'm dead serious. That game, a couple of weeks ago, I was in the store, and I was just like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's just dice on a board that falls. Oh my gosh. What?
And then he played it.
Yeah. And it's, no, always bring tumbling dice.
Well, and that's the other, Alex, you hit on another thing that we want this store to be able to do. It's, like I said, it's in a high foot traffic area. Those people coming in will never be exposed to tumbling dice. So being able to have it on a table and let them play it, even if they don't walk away with it, they're going to tell people I was in this store and this is a really cool thing, and then that's going to lead somebody down a rabbit hole and get them in the hobby, maybe.
Yeah, I've got to imagine, though, being in such a boutique space, so small, they're
Yeah, for the listeners, when we say small, it's 450 square feet.
Yeah,
it's small.
It's very small. How do you decide what to open up? Because you can only have one or two things open on a table, unlike a larger store, which could have maybe like, it's okay to leave a game out so people can walk by and try. So how do you pick a game and say, this is one that we want to open up so that people can actually touch? Because with Roll the Dice, and even at Game Point, you're like, oh, what is that person playing over there?
Right.
Hey, do you have that? I want that. Let me play it.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's where also having the game cafe comes in huge, because we can go pull things for, like, let's just bring this one over for the week and we can show it off. But stuff that we're specifically open for the store, I think two things you look for. One, things that we can teach and have you maybe play real quickly. Quarto, Corridor, like that line is great for that.
Yeah, all the Gigamix stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and then the other one is things that are tactical. So Larry's favorite game, Clask, is a great one for that. Tumbling Dice is also good for that, because somebody can like, what the heck is this? And then you can immediately say, touch it and try it out and get involved. And I think that's fun for a lot of reasons.
He would throw me out there with Clask. No, that was a really good question. So I was going to say some stuff, but he threw me off with the Clask. So
I'm sorry.
I'm done.
So the downside of that, though, as Larry will tell you, why it's his favorite, is then you'll get kids playing it, and they won't want to leave.
Yeah, the maintenance is really high on them too. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, and because not for any nefarious reasons, but because you want it to work, and you want it to be available for the next person.
Right.
So you don't want somebody to come in and play Clask and they can't because one of the paddles has gone missing. So you have to keep your eye on that. Mm-hmm. So now you are splitting it with, okay, I've got to keep my attention on the store, I've got to watch when they're doing a demo, and I've got to get back around to it to reset it before someone comes in so that the next person has it available. And then if stuff gets broken and goes missing, so you kind of have to weigh the benefit.
Yeah, but I think the benefit really is you get somebody in there interacting with something, and say, hey, this is fun. If this is fun, what else is fun? Like, here, let me show you these other things that are also really fun.
And to be fair, Clask, it is an amazing demo. It really is. It draws people in, and the moment you show them how it works, they got 10 minutes on it, man. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And when kids see it, they're like, ooh. And so that is perfect from a retail standpoint. And I want to remind everybody that we're at a convention, so you're about to hear the overhead announcements here in just a second.
So we will pause for station identification. And we're back after the announcements.
So, Rick, we want to give you some time, man. First of all, again, thank you for having us in and for being the FLGS, putting the F in the FLGS, the friendly part, and the LGS.
That's the F.
The local game store part, too, because it's so good to have one. But, man, we want to give you some space to talk about whatever you want to talk about, whether it's the cafe, the store.
Yeah, so if you find yourself in Music City in Nashville, come see us. The cafe is, y'all have talked about us before, but if you're a new listener, the cafe, we have a library of about 500 games. You just come in, you grab one, take it to your seat, go get a cold beer or a hot latte or some snacks or a sandwich, and have some fun.
I don't recommend mixing the hot latte and the cold beer unless that's one of your specials. Then it's great. It's great.
It's just a fun time. It's a fun time to sit outside. I think the real fun part of it is like just looking around you and seeing tables upon tables of people just having fun with everything from Guess Who to Catan to the newest strategy game. It's just a fun time.
I love it.
And I will say, in our area, we are running out of places where board gaming and community kind of intersect. And that's one of the things I've always appreciated about the cafe. It's just that genuine like, oh, what are you playing? Oh, okay, cool. Hey, you got an open spot? It doesn't. I know it doesn't happen a lot, but it definitely does happen.
Yeah. And then if you're looking for a new game, come check us out in Hillsborough Village. It's like I said, a walking shopping section of Nashville, 1804 21st Avenue South. Happy to show you, like I said, your new favorite game.
That's right. And they have really sturdy bags so you can keep walking.
We try to.
Well, Rick, sir, we will definitely do as much as we can. We'll definitely come see you at Game Point.
Please do.
Play some more stuff, have some more events. But we really appreciate you taking time out because I know you're here working today. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
For coming over and spending time with us.
Real quick, do you have a hot cellar yet?
I don't think we do.
You don't think?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound promising.
We have we a lot of one-offs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can still see ISS Vanguard
Yes.
from here. So
ISS Vanguard is getting looked at,
Yes.
but not grabbed yet.
Because it's big box.
It's a big
box.
box.
Big box
It's
brings people to the table.
And it's heavy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, hey, Rick, thank you so much.
Hey,
We
thank
really
you guys. I
appreciate
appreciate it.
And we are back.
Yes, we are.
Where's Alex, man? You hear that? You hear that? Listen, you hear that?
Sounds like a crowd.
Sounds like the right kind of crowd
Oh, zinger.
to me. So we're going to do a little segment we like to call the right kind of crowd, where we talk about the type of players and or the crowd and games that you do or maybe don't want to see. And obviously this is the convention edition. So we're going to talk about games you play in this particular setting or a convention setting when you get together with more than just your local, 4 or 5 friends or your family. Mr. Alex, you want to start us off?
Yes.
Game or player type?
I'm gonna go player type.
Okay.
But I'm gonna also throw in a game that you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think one of my favorite things to do at convention is to find those players who want to do something that is outside the norm of their regular game group. So, and specifically, you find games that can take in a large player count and require a little bit more of an abstract engagement, not necessarily sitting around a table. So, for instance, one of the first large sort of what I considered a convention game at the time was 2 Rooms and a Boom.
Ah, okay.
And so it's a social game of hidden roles and deduction, and players are divided into 2 different groups and put in 2 different rooms. You find your teammates, you establish trust, and exchange hostages before the time runs out and the bomb explodes. And so, and that, of course, that's the tagline from Tuesday Night Games. But you can have almost any number of players. I can't remember. I think, let's see. In the box, it comes up to 30 players.
Okay.
And so you exchange things, but there's so much commotion, there's so much moving around, and it's so great for the convention space because it plays quickly, but it's so engaging, and it's something you wouldn't normally do.
Gotcha.
In a particular home setting.
Gotcha.
And so I think finding those people who want to do something atypical, something different, something unique, something a little, because, and again, that are ready to maybe up and move and be a little bit more social in that aspect.
Cool. I like that. I'm going to start with a player type also, and my player type is going to be, I don't even know what exactly we would call this, but I love it when you get into a convention situation and you've got the players that are just hungry for just a long and deep gameplay experience. They don't care what it is. So they're willing to sit down, they're willing to play it, they're willing to learn it. If they need to, they're willing to teach it. All they know is they want to sit and play a game for a long time, and they want to have a great experience. It's not just about the time. They want to sit there and they want to experience the game, and let's just play it. Let's don't, I got to go to work tomorrow. Let's don't, okay, Bob's going to be here because he's stuck in traffic. You don't have to deal with any of that. We're all here. Let's just experience this game 100% the full way that it needs to be. And it could be something quick. That's why I said it doesn't have to be even something that's a long game. It's not necessarily that, but I love it when they just have that attitude about them. Just, man, let's just play this. And for me, one of the games that I would put up the list, it's funny, it was going to be in my other list. I was going to sneak it in and talk about it here anyway. And
Wait, pause. Are you going to say Lisboa?
I am going to say
I knew it,
Lisboa.
because every time, as soon as you started...
the experience that I had with it, and I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't have said it if I hadn't done it. This game never would have been on my list if I hadn't sat there and done it at a convention.
And as soon as you started talking...
Brilliant!
And as soon as you started talking about that, I had this whole thing, I had a flashback of man, remember that time that Larry was with me, and then I looked up and I didn't know where he was, and 3 hours later...
The call of Lisboa.
3 hours later, I found him playing Lisboa.
Oh, no, it was so good. I was playing with good friends, but the gentleman who taught us owned it, loved it. He bought a blinged out copy. He was gifting that copy to my friends, Cat House Gaming, but he was going to teach it. He was playing another game. So he was like, well, I'll teach you guys. And he taught it. And remember that it took him probably 45 minutes to an hour. And then, of course, we played it, as you said, about for 3 hours. And again, if I hadn't done this, I never would have been like, okay, that's a convention game. Because I would have thought, that's so much concentration. It's a Lacerda, from Eagle Gryphon games. And you're thinking, oh, my gosh, I need to really, really concentrate. But it was so good. It worked out so well because everyone was there. Everybody was committed to, listen, we're going to play this thing. We got the access. We got the access of, in our case, we have the access of a teacher who knew it, that this guy absolutely knows it, so we don't have to fumble through the rules like we did with on Mars, because when the three of us, we played on Mars too at their home. And, we'd all played it solo. Well, I had played it solo. They had gone through it. We'd all watched the videos. We'd all read the book, and we still fumbled through it because that's just kind of what you do with a Lacerda the first time you play it. But this guy knew it. So we had access to somebody who knew it. We had table space for that big old beautiful game. Let's just play the thing. And it was so good. So that would be my first two. What else you got for us?
So, and the other thing I really look forward to when I come to conventions about the specific attitude players have is that most of the people that I meet or come up to, they are open to something new. And because one of the things that I love about conventions and big experiences like this is there are games that I have never known about, or maybe I've heard about or seen, and I couldn't get my own copy. Because one of my favorite things to do is just to get up and walk the room and just to see, that's that game I've heard about.
Me too.
And
so
like,
good.
or that, and then just like, let's pull this and play something new. Because I have my own collection and I love my collection, but my brain is always like, well, what else is out there? And this, and
how cool is it to walk and see all these games being played right next to each other?
Yeah, right. And so I really like the right kind of crowd for me here is someone who is up for let's play something new. Because honestly, I will say my heart hurts a little bit when someone's like, hey, let's just play one of the games you brought. And I usually bring the games that I've never played to the convention. Right. But I always bring one or two that I know someone would have enjoyed.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
No, that is fantastic. And I mean, that kind of covers it. I guess the only other ones I'm looking for me in terms of player, I want to say the players that are looking for, regardless of what the situation is or what the day may bring. And this one sounds simple, but you would be surprised. They just looking to have fun. I'm just looking to have a good time. I'm looking to be a friend, meet a friend, make a friend, and just have fun today. I want to laugh today, and if that's us trying to get your games out of your car, if the power goes out and we got to sit around and tell stories, if that was talking about the line, trying to get food at lunch, it doesn't matter. I am here to have fun today. I want to relax, and I want to have fun, and let's go and let's do that. I'd love to see that type of person, particularly at a convention, because again, you're going to have fun with them, and even if not, you can probably even enjoy what they're doing, just kind of just draining it off of them, which I think is just fantastic. I love it. Oh, one more player. I do like the new player too, to a convention scene.
Oh yeah.
Because when they've said, okay, I'm gonna go to a convention, I'm gonna do it, and then they walk through the door, and I love the look of just like, oh God, what did I get into? And then when they get that first table, or people come up and meet them, and then they kind of get that, I'm home. Look, that is so good.
Yeah. And I'll add one little addendum to the player I always look for is I wanna. Like, when it makes my heart happy when you hear that one table just erupt in cheers or erupt in laughter, and you're like, I want what they're having, and so
later I'll have two of them.
Yes,
please.
exactly. And so, and then even greater is to be a part of the thing where like someone pulls off the epic comeback and everyone's just like, whoa, and everyone is cheering together.
I love it.
Yeah, and so that I look for those experiences as well.
Very, very awesome. Well, that's probably going to be great for the right kind of crowd. We want to move the energy. We want to keep it up. We've got another segment we want to get into right now. We're just going to keep the conversation rolling, and we will be right back after this.
And we are back for one of our most well-liked segments. I was going to say favorite, but then I realized...
I had the drum roll already. I was going to ba-doom-tish you, but you messed it up.
So we are talking, this segment is a few of my favorite things.
Just a few.
Yes. So each of us takes a random title. Actually, it's not random. It's arbitrary. And title from their collection and covers it at length. When we say at length, Alex will cover it very briefly, tell you what he likes about it, and then Larry will talk ad nauseum.
You don't talk for me. You ain't the boss of me.
Okay. So Can we maybe fix that in the notes where it no longer says at length? It just says some stuff and then gets over.
No, I'm just saying, just because you said it don't mean I'm not going to.
Oh my gosh!
Let me go ahead and get started. I will get started and I will get out of the way. It won't be as long as you think. In fact, it won't be. I wanted to talk about one of the things. For mine, it was random. I had it down to a few choices. I made some choices. I picked some stuff randomly, and then I kind of want to go through them. And then I ended up picking one, and it was cool because it was cemented. As soon as I made up my mind that I was going to pick this, I got my Kickstarter from it in the mail, and that's going to be my Button Shot Games collection. So I'm going to call all of them because there's just so many of them, and I don't want to talk about just the one of them. But one of the coolest things about it, first of all, you can go over to Button Shy's website and you can pick up their games from them, the things that are active, that are in print. And those are the only ones I looked into. People may be reselling them, obviously, on BGG or where have you, and you can go and check on that at length. But go over to Button Shy's website. These are micro games. They come in wallets, 17 to 24 to 28 cards, I believe, depending on the game. But they're always so clever. They're always so well done. It's what Button Shy does. It's what they've been doing for quite some time. So for one, go and support a publisher that's doing a tremendous service to the hobby and furthering the hobby with some really amazing titles. But just a couple of mine. In Vino Morte is one of the ones that I drew Alex in with that he actually loves and that we play. That Pentacork is one of the first ones that I got into that is really, really tough. And then, of course, the Agropolis games. So I've got all of those now, and that's what came in the Kickstarter, the Comboopolis and Agropolis. And I can't even name all of them that I've got, but they just bring me so much joy. I get them out, and I can play them when I know I don't have a lot going on, but I want to dig into something a little deep. I'll get out one of the Agropolis games, or if I'm feeling a little bit more heady, then I'll jump into Pentacork, and I've got quite a few that I haven't even looked into just yet, banned books and some of the other ones.
Hey everyone.
And we've got an announcement.
And we are back after that convention announcement. And Larry, I think that was the universe telling you, wrap it up.
No, that was the best part coming up. No, actually, but no, that was basically the end. So just if you get a chance, if you like something in terms of the theme or something that you like, give those guys a shot. I love Button Shot games. They're very reasonable as well, on top of being small, quick games. And that's just one of my favorite things in my collection are my little Button Shot wallet games.
Oh, cool. Well, interestingly enough, I didn't read the show notes, so I didn't even have a game prepared. But
What's interesting about that? That's normal.
Yeah, that's true. But I did pack a few games that I was really excited about when we came here to the convention, and we got to get one of them out that I actually purchased last year and had played once. Really, really enjoyed my time, but that doesn't mean a game is great or it's going to stay in my collection if I enjoy the first play. There have been numerous games that I've played once, loved, played a second time. I'm like, well, that's no whatever. But we played it again today, actually. And it was wonderful, and it just reaffirmed how much I love this game. And that is Starship Captains from CGE, designed by Peter B. Hofgerd, and basically
What'd you say?
Hofgerd, Gard, G-A-A-R-D. You don't like you know this man.
You said Gerd.
Gard.
G-A-A-R-D is never Gerd.
Gard. Okay, we're not going to spend this whole segment making fun of this man's name because he's a wonderful designer. This is fantastic.
It wasn't about his name. It was about your pronunciation of it.
Starship Captains is a 1-to-4 player sort of worker placement, and let me tell you, it is Star Trek themed all the way through. I mean, it is right up to the line of copyright infringement and then like a half a step back. But if you're a fan of Lower Decks, like the aesthetic of this will instantly draw you in because it has that same kind of cartoon vibe. But again, it's not a licensed product. But every bit of this is simple. Every bit of this is easy, but yet it is still meaningful and engaging.
Every bit of it, I love it.
Engaging. How do I... Engaging? Engage! Number one. Number two, engage.
We've had too much convention today.
We have had too much convention. I need to purge myself of the conventioning. I think there's a cream for that. But no, so Starship Captains, it's beautiful and wonderful, and it's a worker placement game, but it does so many just small little unique things.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're not like you could easily look at them and go, oh, that's a gimmick. But all it does is, for me, it adds a little bit of a tactile interaction to it. That's just it didn't have to be there, but it is. I think it just elevates the game to
really young.
Yeah. It's so well done, and I think this is a sleeper. I think a lot of people are just going to kind of go, oh yeah, that's fine. but it's this is my favorite lightweight sort of worker placement game, and I think I would put this almost over everything. As far as that, it's the high end of the lightweight.
I can see that.
Yeah, or the low end of the midweight, if you will, as far as complexity is concerned.
Yeah,
but it's
fantastic.
not. But it's not a simple thing. It's not a simple thing. It can get really, really, you can get invested in it very easily, and there's a lot that you can do and a lot that you can explore. And I just adore this game from every aspect of it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with that. Totally. So that is the Button Shot Games Collection for me, and Starship Captains for Alex, some of our favorite things from our board game collection. Well, Mr. Alex, I think I'm going to throw a wow.
Wow!
It's a partially exhausted, very satisfied, very happy wow, but wow nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like we have come to the end. Guys, we're going to put as many pictures as we can on this post accompanying this when we announce this on social media. So please be sure to go out and follow us there on Instagram if you're not following us, so we can make sure to share some of those pictures. I hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful tabletop day and just a wonderful day in general. Mr. Alex, you got anything else for us?
And no, man, I've had an absolute blast. Really, really excited to be here. We want to thank all the people at Meeple Mountain for their generosity.
Absolutely.
Letting us set up here and just kind of take over a corner. I mean, today's been a fun day. It's been a fun day.
It's been fantastic. Very, 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 very memorable. So, Mr. Alex, what do we do from here?
All right. So, for the Spoken Token, I am Alex Wallace saying keep playing.
And I am Larry Neal saying keep communicating. This has been the Spoken Token Podcast. If you would like to interact with us, please find us at Facebook at The Spoken Token, on Instagram at The Spoken Token Podcast. Our Twitter account is at The Spoken Token. Email is thespokentokenpodcast@gmail.com. And our BGG guild number is 2656.
You are listening to a Pod Studio One Podcast Network podcast. Find more great podcasts at www.podstudio1.com.